Hello, we're going to move to the fourth video. It has something to do with the queries. The queries or a query in a database is really where we ask questions, usually with certain criteria. Let's think a little bit about what we have done. We entered 5 computers, and these computers have really interesting characteristics or attributes such as the price, the monitor size, the CPU, the RAM. I could ask questions such as, show me all the computer that has a price greater than or equal, for example, to $800. Okay, that's one of the question I could ask. Show me all the computers that have a monitor size between a 15-inch and 23-inch. Show me all the computer that has a price more than or equal to $1,500 and have a CPU greater than or equal to, let's say, 3.9. So this should give you an idea about how valuable are the queries in a database, because that's where the heart of everything we actually work with in the real world when it comes to manipulating data from a large database especially. So I'm going to make it a short story, and I'm going to go to create here, and I'm going to start by creating a query, but I'm going to go ahead and do it by design. The first thing you need to know that I'm going to add only my table that I have, which is the table computers. And as you notice here, I have the list. I closes the windows, and I wanted to add the queries. I'm not going to add actually the serial number. I don't need it unless the manager or somebody is interested in looking at those. But I wanted to actually look at all these computers that have a price that is greater than or equal to 800. Okay, or we could make it more interesting because I could actually see all the computers that made by Dell and has certain price. But let's focus on one or the others. If I choose now to go ahead and say all the computers that manufactured by Dell. So we're going to go ahead and add the manufacturer, model, price. If I wanted to add monitor size, I can. If I don't want to, I don't have to, based on the question that I'm trying to answer. I'm going to add everything. Definitely, I need to make sure that the manufacturer is there, because the data that actually, or the piece of data that I'm looking for, is really under the value of manufacturer. So I need to put here Dell. Okay, but before we do Dell here, I want to go ahead and run the query. It tells me, okay, you asked me to show you the query with everything because you didn't specify any criteria. I wanted to show only those computers that has Dell. So I'm going to go click on the design of the query one more time and put the Dell as the word that I'm looking for, then run the query, and you will notice that everything is really returned back to me as a query Dell. If I decided to save this, okay, enter the file and save object as, not the database, the object as a query, all Dell computers, that will give me a query that I could use. And I could go back, of course, to the database, and I go to the home in order to initiate this. You notice the query is going to be always giving me the same result. I could create another query. Okay, for example, I could go to the query design one more time. You see this one, this screen is giving to me, and I could go ahead and say add the table, and maybe I didn't need this one here, of course, it's been added, so I'm going to click the right button and say remove table just in case I made. I want the manufacturer, I want the model, and I need the price, and maybe the CPU. That's it. I'm interested in the price in looking in reference to the CPU. And I want anything that has to do with the price of greater than or equal to $800. Notice here very clearly, and I did not put the dollar sign in the criteria. The dollar sign is a formatting issue. So when we're trying to pull the price, I'm looking for a numerical value that is greater than or equal to 800. That's a very common mistake people do by putting the dollar sign. So when I run this here, as you notice, all the computer that I got happens to be greater than or equal to $800. So I could go ahead also and save this as query, all computers greater than, with a price greater than, or I could say go ahead like this, so people do still understand greater than or equal to. I could put the dollar sign here in the name because this is really a description of the query. It's not the actual criteria. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this. I do see two queries. One that has to do with the price of the computer, and one has to do with the Dell computers.